All right, let's get into the CenterPoint bill breakdown as reported by 14 News.
Has a clearer breakdown of monthly charges so customers can better understand how their bills are calculated. I spoke with Mike Rader, the Senior Vice President of External Affairs for CenterPoint Energy, to get a better understanding. Rader says the new bills do not add new charges. Those are now just labeled under 4 organized groups.
I will say that that's not entirely true. They are being displayed more clearly, but we also had a rate increase that, that's everybody knows that, right? I mean, we had a rate increase as well.
There's a customer facilities charge, which is kind of the cost to serve a home or business.
Important note here that during the last rate case, CenterPoint actually wanted to increase that flat fee to, I believe it was $23 or $25. So, more than double than what they ended up settling on at $11.
According to CenterPoint's website, this charge is a standard $11 per month. That's the cost of having electric hooked up to your home.
Then there's the variable base charge, and that's based on the amount of energy consumed, and that will go for things like buildings and people
and people also meaning CEOs who are making millions of dollars a year. Let's not forget that.
And pipes and wires.
That's how much energy you are using inside your home, plus the cost of delivering that electricity to your house.
Plus the profit involved, the 9.8% return on equity that CenterPoint gets on all infrastructure. Don't ever forget that. They get reimbursed for the physical thing plus 9.8% profit.
And there's the fuel charge. So that's the cost that we would pass through for the cost of coal, the cost of natural gas.
That's the cost of firing the power plants.
And then there's another.
And that is my understanding that fuel charges are passed through. Important note, and this may make some folks angry, but it is a fact that the renewable energy projects do not have a fuel charge. There's no fuel charge to run or collect energy from solar panels or wind turbines. So there's that.
Called adjustments, and that has a number of moving pieces in there. Things like federally mandated investments that we've had to make.
Okay, this one ticks me off a little bit. There's a lot of moving parts and adjustments, and I can probably pull up a screenshot if I had the technical ability to do that. There's a dozen or so line items in adjustments that are all hidden from your bill. And the one he just mentioned was about federally mandated projects. And that, the utilities in Indiana were very clever. They seen the writing on the wall a number of years ago that they were going to be responsible for less pollution in our neighborhoods. So, installing scrubbers on smokestacks for coal plants. Perhaps cleaning up some of the millions of metric tons of the coal ash that are in ponds in both Warwick and Posey County. Those are all both unlined storage retention ponds. There's a lot of heavy metals in those, and those do leach into the groundwater. There's monitoring wells all around them. You can look them up online and see just how many heavy metals, including like mercury, is leaching in. So they realized that the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act was going to catch up with them, and they were going to be responsible for some of these investments to make things less polluting. What they did in Indiana is they get a law passed that basically states any federally mandated cleanup, any pollution controls, they get to pass directly on to the customers, and they are not responsible for any of it. Not their fault. They don't have to pay for it, even though they kind of choose how the power is being generated. It was their choice not to clean up the coal ash ponds. Their hands are clean. They have passed all of that on to you and I. So when he says that, just keep in mind the company could and should be responsible for those things, but they have gotten a law passed in Indiana that passes those directly on to you and I.
Now, these charges come from the government. They stem from EPA regulations.
Again, these charges don't come from the government. CenterPoint has, and the other four investor-owned utilities in Indiana got a law passed. So when they have to do these projects to be in compliance, they get to pass those on to us and not be a responsible business owner and not want to pollute their communities.
The charge goes to the cost of equipment that's used to control pollution at the local coal firing facilities. After the four categories, there is a standard 7% Indiana state sales.
Yeah, we really didn't get into all the other adjustments because there's all kinds of shady stuff in there that maybe we'll talk about at a different time. This video's already way too long.
Again, Rader says these four categories are not new charges on customers' bills.
And that is a fair statement. I mean, in that there is a rate increase, so these charges are more than they used to be, but displaying them on your bill, that is new. You know, they were not additional charges, they were just hidden before, and now they're being forced to display those on our bills. We have a tiny fraction of the transparency that we should actually have, which what I would call a line item bill. Like you would get an invoice from any other place, you see every line. And I really need to put a screenshot of that so you know what the heck I'm talking about.
I calculated one Evansville customer's prior bill. I added up the electric and service charges based on the number of kilowatts of electricity used. That total was roughly $100 less than what the customer was billed.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Is really just the fuel charges and adjustment charges. Rader says customers just couldn't see that detailed breakdown until now on this new bill format. The only real difference in the two bills is the amount of energy used, resulting in a high...
That's completely not true. That is only one half of the equation. Rates went up, usage also went up because it was freaking hot. So this is not, I don't consider this very good reporting.
Payment, which Rader says is likely due to the heat wave.
Coming off of the billing cycles that we're in right now is the 30-plus day of 90-degree heat and humidity that we've had in Southwest Indiana. Definitely driving bills higher than what people saw in June for sure.
Now, while this breakdown might not answer exactly why your bills are so high right now, it is a start to understand what has changed. Officials have said hotter weather, higher fuel costs, and federal regulations on coal-powered plants are just a few of the reasons for rising electric bills.
Right. That is a few of the reasons. What's the other reason? The rate increase. Why are we not saying this out loud? Like explicitly, there was a rate increase. There was 1,000 people that showed up. A whole bunch of them testified. It was 9 hours of testimony in Evansville for folks speaking out against the rate increase that we are seemingly ignoring in this reporting. This really irritates me.
Why? Now, if you notice from my research here, the national average and Indiana's average for electricity is roughly 17 cents per kilowatt hour. CenterPoint charges roughly 14 cents per kilowatt hour.
No, they do not. We are currently just under 21 cents per kilowatt hour, not including the $11 flat facilities charge and the 8-cent flat per month TDSIC portion of the TDSIC charge, which will be ramping up as we go through the next 5 years. That will be ramping up for 5 years. It was over $20 a month at the end of the last period, and the amounts are similar. They asked for about $5 million last time in the previous 7-year TDSIC plan, and they asked for about $5 million in the current 5-year TDSIC plan, which is Transportation Distribution System Improvement Charge. Another one of those things that the company should be responsible for. Got a state law passed where they can pass all those charges on to us for some reason. Yeah, because they got a state law passed.
CenterPoint officials also say they are in the middle of a costly transition to a new source of energy, switching from coal to wind and solar. So it's possible.
And also natural gas. Why are we leaving this out of the story? They are literally building the repowering A.B. Brown in Posey County to natural gas. Simple combustion turbine natural gas. That was getting pretty close to $1 billion when you count the pipeline maintenance fees and the construction costs. This is not good reporting. I'm very disappointed in 14 News.
More affordable energy is in the near future.
Now that is true. in that once the initial investments are made in renewables, we are not charged a fuel charge. So, yeah, okay, I guess that's a high point, but they're also talking about repowering the FB Cully plant in Warwick County over to natural gas. So it will still have fuel charges for both of those plants and having to pay for both of those plants. We're also still paying for the A.B. Brown coal plant that they retired. That's a charge on our bill in adjustments that you don't see. And I guess we may have to also do that for FB Coley when they retire it. I mean, it's over 50 years old. How much more money can we pour into these things? Y'all, I don't know. I'm just, I'm very irritated, and I hope you are as well. This is not very good reporting.